Good evening. I call this meeting of Montgomery County School Board to order at 7:30 p.m. on September 2nd, 2014. Because neither the board chair or vice chair is in attendance at tonight's meeting, I will preside temporarily until a chairman pro tem is elected. Please join me as we pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next item is the adoption of the agenda. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Did you get them, Brenda? Mr. Lyons? Okay, very good. Thank you. We have an agenda. Our next order of business is election of a chairman.
We have to.
I'm so sorry, Ms. Blackburn. We didn't vote on that agenda.
Oh, okay,
So
I'm
we have a
sorry.
motion and a second, but all those in favor?
I'm just a rookie chairperson. I usually have to answer all the questions. Okay, let's, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Now that I've done it right, we're official, we can move on. Thank you. Our next order of business is election of a chairman pro tem to preside over tonight's school board meeting. Anyone on the board may nominate another board member for chairman pro tem. A nomination does not require a second. Once nominations are complete, we will then vote on each nominee in the order of their nomination. Do I have a nomination for the chairman pro tem?
Yes, ma'am. I nominate Mrs. Woosley, please.
We have a nomination for Sarah Woolsey. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we will now vote on the nominee. Our first nominee was Sarah Woolsey. All those in favor of Sarah Woolsey for chairman pro tem, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ms. Woolsey, I turn the meeting over to you, and I have this, and you may want to rearrange the seating. I think that's at the pleasure of the board.
I'm good. Y'all are good. Okay. Thank you. This is my first time doing this, but there's a first for everything, right? Good evening. Our next item on the agenda is honors, awards, and recognitions. This is a nice event of our agenda always. So during this time, we recognize outstanding accomplishments of students and staff. Ms. Blackburn.
Thank you, Ms. Woolsey. I'm going to ask Dr. Graham if she would preside, and Mr. McElandra is going to go to the dais to introduce our support employees of the year, and Ms. Woolsey and I are going to go down and present certificates and congratulate them.
At this time, Mr. McElandra will share our first awards and honors of the night.
Thank you, Dr. Graham, members of the board. While it's important to recognize teachers for their efforts in the classroom, it is equally important that we recognize the efforts, the talents, and care that our support staff provides for the success of our students. Through their efforts, many functions of the school day are carried out: transportation of children, feeding children, ensuring the safety and well-being of students, ensuring that students have a clean building, grounds work, shoveling snow. Support given to the classroom teachers, administration, children, parents, and guardians are very important to the education of their children. The school board acknowledges the importance of these functions and wants to take time to recognize these employees. This year, 21 nominees are examples of the hard work and dedication needed to have the successful educational programs we offer in Montgomery County. I'm proud to introduce them tonight. As I state your name, please come forward and accept your recognition. Bethany Graham, Special Education Aide, Falling Branch Elementary School. Sandra Keith, bookkeeper at Auburn High School. Jeffrey Mitchell, custodian at Eastern Montgomery Elementary School. Cindy Slusher, cafeteria at Independent Secondary School. Lori Walls, administrative assistant at Blacksburg Middle School. Ruby Williams, senior custodian, Christiansburg High School. Tammy Mim Wright, registrar, admin assistant at Blacksburg High School. Not being able to join us tonight are several other employees. We have Loretta Brooks, Karen Cecil, Brandy Fleener, Sarah Howell, Jerry Klein, Brian Light, Deborah Miles, Suzanne Nelson, Gretchen Neinstein, Michael Sarver, Sally Shoemate, Carolyn Spranger, and Clarence Wade were not able to join us tonight. This year, through generous donations of Inspire Business Interiors and Old Town Printing, we're able to match the monies that were provided to the Teacher of the Year to the Support Staff of the Year. The recipient will receive a one-time check of $1,000. The 2013-14 Montgomery County Public School Support Employee of the Year has served in the division for 20 years and currently works as a special education aide at Eastern Montgomery High School. Her supervisor states, no matter the assignment, she always goes above and beyond to ensure student success. A coworker states she makes other people, colleagues, and students alike feel like they matter. She consistently promotes the positive learning environment for students, colleagues, and the community while contributing to Montgomery County Public Schools in an exceptional manner. We are proud to acknowledge her contributions to our school division. The 2013-2014 Montgomery County Public Schools Support Staff Employee of the Year is Tina M. Sarver. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for what you do for the Montgomery County Public Schools.
I would also like to ask that the friends and families of the employees that were just recognized, please stand if you're in the audience. Thank you, friends and families, for supporting our support staff employees. We will take a 5-minute break at this time so that the board may congratulate each of you. Thank you.
Meetings, the school board sets aside up to 30 minutes for citizens to address the board about issues pertaining to public education in Montgomery County. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to speak. The screens throughout the room and on the laptop will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining and when the 3 minutes have passed. We currently don't have anyone signed up to speak, but if there is anyone in the audience that wishes to, please come forward to address the board. Is there anyone? All right. Well, then we will close public address. Next on the agenda are consent items. If there's nothing to be pulled from the consent agenda, then we will consider the consent items approved. Is there any discussion regarding the consent agenda? All right. Then they read. Okay. personnel report. Do I have a motion to adopt the personnel report?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. All those in favor, please raise
Chairman.
your hand and say aye.
In order to avoid a conflict of interest or even the appearance of impropriety, I will abstain from voting on the part of this action, check 1359, involving Crosspoint Conference Center and/or the Foursquare Church, and disclose my interest in accordance with the Virginia Conflict of Interest Act. I do, however, vote yes on the remaining aspects of the action.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will now move on to superintendent's reports. Ms. Blackburn?
Thank you. The 10th day of this school year was Monday, August 25th. As is our practice, staff will share an update on total enrollment and class size. Dr. Graham and Jennifer Weaver will make a brief presentation.
It's always our pleasure each year to come before the board and tell you what our 10-day enrollment looks like. And you should have the form in front of you as well. But K through 5 this year on the 10th day had 4,409 students, 232 teachers with a pupil-teacher ratio of 19. And we did expect that that might go down just a little bit today, which it did. It went down to 18.96 today. Then if you look at the very bottom, you will see the overall K through 12 enrollment, which is 4,409. The actual 10-day for secondary was 5,075. 10-day for everyone was 9,484. We had a budget projection of 9,475, so we were only 10 away from that. So we felt very good about that. And then over on the far right-hand side, you will see that this year, actual enrollment, we're 36 students different from last year. If you look at the next page, I've broken down each of the elementary schools by strand. So for instance, if you look at Christiansburg Primary, you will see that their kindergarten enrollment is 157. They have 8 teachers with a pupil-teacher ratio of 19.63. And those are just read like that. And down in the green, you will see the K through 5 enrollment. In some years, the board has asked for pre-K through 5, so we add that as well, although the state does not take into account the preschoolers. The next slide is the Blacksburg strand, which I will let you read that at your leisure unless you have questions. And the last slide is Auburn Elementary and Eastern Montgomery. And that concludes the elementary schools, so I'll turn it over to Mrs. Weaver for the secondary schools. Any questions about elementary?
Good evening. As Dr. Graham mentioned, total secondary for day 10, we're at 5,075 with 306 teachers, which gives us a PTR of 21.25. And I did try to include for you a little better information this time about how PTR is calculated at the secondary level. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, both Dr. Graham and Ms. Weaver are available if there are questions from the board.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving to the next item, the Winning Choices Proclamation. For the past 15 years, Montgomery County Public Schools has been celebrating our students making winning choices. This year, the primary events will take place between September 15th and September 19th and include Sarah Panzow as an evening speaker for parents and community on September 18th at 7 p.m. She is also speaking at BHS on 9/19 at 9:30 a.m., and you're certainly welcome to attend either of those presentations. We appreciate the great support of our 4 local Rotary clubs, the Virginia Tech Athletic Department, the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets, and school system staff in making this a kickoff event to the MCPS focus on character education, anti-bullying, healthy lifestyle decisions, and diversity. Businesses and Rotary clubs have donated gift certificates to recognize individual student essays that best describe winning choices. This evening, we will seek your approval of the proclamation celebrating winning choices.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise their hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is a reorganization, cost savings, and part-time HR benefits specialist request. For some time, the division has been working on a project to digitize our archived student records, and this has created an opportunity to review and combine some work assignments in student services, student records, special education, and curriculum and instruction. The work previously assigned to 3 administrative assistants, one of which was exclusively dedicated to student records, has been reorganized and largely absorbed by 2 AA positions. One is in student services and one is in special education, and a piece of the assignment went to an AA in curriculum and instruction. The savings from deletion of one AA position is $40,443. I recommend the board reinstate the half-time benefits payroll assistant that we hired last year. It was valued at $15,463, and return the remaining savings to the 2015 budget for other needs of the school division. That would be a return of $24,980. This part-time position was created in 2014 and lost to budget reductions that occurred as the 2015 budget was developed. I am presenting this item for your consideration as an action item so that the gap in services in HR may be filled as soon as possible. The primary responsibility of this person is to assist us with the fact that we now have dual VRS systems that we are working with as we employ new teachers and others in our school system.
Okay, just so I'm clear, we're not losing any employees. The workers have been reassigned.
That is correct. We had one person who accepted another position within the division, and we had one who retired. So that gave me the flexibility to rearrange.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
And this is just, we're just approving it for this year at this point, correct?
It is a 1 year only.
Okay.
All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
Our next item is the VSBA professional development proposal. It's presented this evening for your information and discussion. The board requested staff pursue a proposal from VSBA to conduct a series of training opportunities for the Montgomery County Public Schools School Board. I have attached a copy of the proposal. The professional development is designed to not only enrich the opportunities of our board, but to meet a requirement of the Advanced Ed Accreditation Report. The major topics included are board governance and board protocol, communication, including teamwork and building trust, conflict resolution, and strategic planning. Although the sample document that you were provided in the board update included a specific payment option of 50% at the beginning and 50% at the end, the VSBA is flexible in terms of payment options, including installments, beginning or ending of the series. Should the board choose to terminate the agreement prior to completion of the series, payment will be made only for those sessions that were conducted. The fee is competitive with other options in the professional development market. I have asked VSBA to provide us with all possible dates and asked them specifically to look at Tuesdays in which there are no board meetings. Perhaps there might be more flexibility to regularly schedule that, because it is a series of 4 3-hour sessions. As soon as they give me what's available, I will provide it to you. It is basically every Tuesday that's not already committed as a board meeting. The item is for your information and discussion this evening.
Any comments on the proposal?
I mean, the obvious question is the money part of it. Do we feel, I mean, all the other options were about the same?
We pursued only an official quote from this one, but we received unofficial quotes from 2 other individuals who had anticipated potentially doing this work for us, and they were in the same ballpark as this one. So I would consider this a competitive pricing.
Were the topics similar to what these are based on those from those other people?
We were being guided by the topics that were suggested by Advance Ed. So
Okay.
yes, they were very comparable. We shared that information with everybody that, we talked to about potentially providing the service.
I think it would be good to have VSBA, since they know about Virginia law and our requirements for different things for some of these topics. So, sounds good to me.
Then it sounds like I should pursue and get you those dates as soon as possible. I
Just
think Dr. Graham had some correspondence with them today, so hopefully we'll have solid opportunities to give you very shortly.
Just a point of clarification for me, where does this come out budget-wise?
Well, we have some Title II money that can be used for professional development for administration and for the board.
Okay.
And so we're looking at that potentially as one place. And then we also have in general professional services that's included in your budget, although it was reduced somewhat this year.
Okay.
So that there are opportunities for us to provide this service.
I think before we vote on it, I just would like to see where that is coming from exactly, and then we can, before I say yay or nay on that.
I'll just put it in here for your action for next time.
Okay.
I'll pursue in the meantime. Ms. Woolsey, you ready for me to move on?
Yes.
Okay. My final item for this evening is a request from the Board of Supervisors that the originally scheduled joint meeting on September 30th, 2014 be canceled and another opportunity be scheduled at a later date.
Sure.
Well, I guess my fear is that, I mean, the last time we met with them was December, and I know that one of the things that we had tried, or that we had stated before, was to meet more often throughout the year, and it looks like it's going to be a once-a-year deal at this point.
Well, Mr. Meadows and I did meet to do some preliminary discussion about the agenda, and I know that his board is committed to trying to find an opportunity to reschedule. The dilemma is, just like with us trying to find meeting dates, if you take this group of 7 and then you add in the other group of 7, trying to get those 14 people together is a pretty big task, but they did not feel that they were able to manage the additional meeting at this point, or that it would not perhaps be as informative as perhaps it could be if they had a little more time on their schedule.
I'm fine with, postponing the meeting, because for me, one of the big things that I want to get to is the, the capital, the feasibility study for Christiansburg. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for that for several years. And if we postpone this meeting, then we might be able to add that to the meeting at a later date, once we have our capital meeting.
Excellent point. I know one of the things I asked Mr. Meadows was to give us information about the timeline for the supervisors having the ability to borrow should they choose to do so. And so that also figures, at least in putting a timeline on your capital priorities. And so he felt that at a later date, they should be able to also share that information with us.
Great.
That's everything. We are
So
now,
do we need to vote to accept that cancellation of the meeting, or are we okay?
We're okay. We just need a general consensus from the board in a public forum.
okay.
Okay.
Under unfinished business, we have one item, and we can see if anyone has anything else under unfinished business. But one item we have is potential retreat topics. We have the retreat scheduled for October 3rd and 4th, but we have now heard that Mr. Jones will not be able to attend those dates. So we can talk about if we want to have a retreat with not all 7 people attending. And also, Ms. Blackburn in our board update asked for us to provide topics, specific topics that we'd like to be part of that retreat, through a phone call or an email. Any more details about the things that you would like on that agenda if we do have that retreat? Any thoughts on that?
I know one of the things that we had talked about possibly doing was the capital thing, but since we're going to have the capital meeting later in the month, I don't know that that necessarily needs to be a topic. I mean, the budget could be a 2-day topic if we wanted to really delve into it. I don't know that we need to go to that point of 2 days of budget, although for someone like me, it might be a fun thing. But so I guess a lot of those things that are going to be, that I think are pressing issues, and then again, with us not being able to do our training at that point, maybe postponing the retreat is a better idea.
I mean, it makes sense to have all 7 if typically a retreat talks about the goals for the next school year. And it seems like a good topic would be, since we've just tried to go through, or we did go through the first round of the new superintendent evaluation, and part of that is working with Ms. Blackburn to create the next one with the goals, and I think that's an excellent topic, but it's something that needs to happen with all 7 people.
I think it's something that needs to happen sooner than later.
Yes,
so we
I
need
agree.
to reschedule as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So I don't know if we get the calendar back out again and find out when Mr. Jones is available and the rest of us.
Yeah, I guess we'll
Do we want to
go
ha-
doodle
have
poll
a-
again.
go ahead and cancel that retreat dates at this meeting? Is that something that we can do?
Do we need to
Okay.
do that by vote,
Or-
or do we, again, just general consensus?
Okay.
Instead of maybe doing a 2-day, could we consider just the 1 day that might fit everybody's busier schedules? I mean, I don't have that much going on, but it seems like everyone else does.
We could try. I mean, Mr. Jones, I think it's both of those that he's not available, but we can look at other days, you're right. So is there consensus to cancel at least October 3rd and 4th and look at the rest of the month and November, I guess?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Is there-
I will just say this, and I've said it before. Our retreats used to be earlier in the year and during the winter months when it was easier
Mhm.
to work with folks' schedules, or seemed to be at that time. And I would hope that we will really look at how we're scheduling meetings, and when we start pushing things into the spring and the summer, it just, because my schedule is right full. Even those odd Tuesdays, I plug things in there. So,
Yeah.
this date, the 3rd and the 4th, there was another conference that I was supposed to be at, and I canceled for that.
Mm.
So,
I'm sorry. That's-
yeah, me too.
mm.
So, we just need to be a little bit more deliberate.
Yeah.
Well, it was an unusual year in some respects, and certainly I will be proactive about trying to get this retreat scheduled in the time frame that you would like to have it scheduled. So if you're thinking, March, April, you got to remember you're in the throes of budget at that point. It's there's no downtime anymore. I think somebody told me there used to be, but there hasn't been one in the last 5 years that I'm aware of. So if you give me direction about the month that you would like us to go forward and try to get that going for next year, I'm happy to do that. And in the meantime, I'll certainly flex my schedule as much as I possibly can to meet whatever date the board comes back up with. I do think it's really important with the retreat, from my perspective, that, you know, we have as the full board, if at all possible, because it is really your opportunity to, you know, set focus for the future. And it is something that is best done together, and it also builds on some of the things that some of the things VSBA is going to be doing are topics that the board has done self-directed or with a facilitator in the past. So definitely I'll do what I can to accommodate the schedule.
So are we saying that we're going to try to do this by the end of this calendar year, or are we going to try to do it later? I guess with hearing what you just said, it would come to my mind that we need to do it before 2015, because that may help us set some of what we would do with the budget for 2015.
Yeah, and if we're using a retreat to set goals for the school system, which the school year that's already now 10 days plus. So we'll see what happens with calendars, I guess.
Yes. Are you going to set those up again? I guess
Sure.
for both the retreat and
Yeah.
I guess the joint meeting. We'll have to wait. We're kind of at the mercy of the Board of Supervisors.
Yes. All right. Well, thank
We
you.
can put a date out there, and they can,
propose a date.
Yeah.
and they'll be all right.
We can propose a date.
Yeah.
Or dates.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if we absolutely know there's no time, they're hosting this time, so generally the group that's proposing, but if we know there's absolutely something, like we would tell them right now, October the 20th won't work because we know we have that special capital meeting that evening, but generally whoever's hosting initiates the date.
I would say anytime after October 20th.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to hearing their date proposal.
Okay.
Any other unfinished business?
Yeah, I just had one question, Ms. Blackburn. I noticed when we finally got the numbers back from the state of Virginia, there was it ended up being kind of a net $55,000 that was on that budget.
Yes.
Have we done anything as to specify where that's going to go?
It was rolled into instructional category.
Okay.
I talked about it August the 5th.
Right.
And then I missed your next meeting, but that's where it was put. Is that correct, Katie? Into instruction, which is a broad category.
Right.
It's basically, you know, everything that's classroom related.
And we voted on that is that one of the things we approved? I just want to get some clarification on that.
Yes, that was,
Okay.
you voted for that when you voted for your carryover plan, and the final budget document was attached to that same agenda item.
Okay.
We had the revised budget with the money placed in instruction. I see Katie, who's the official keeper of the spreadsheet, so I need to make sure we're okay
Yeah,
from her
would you
perspective.
just direct me on where that was? I just want to make sure I see it.
I just want to make sure I'm going to address the right thing. You're speaking on the 14-15 budget that had the $55,000 difference at the bottom.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That was the difference between what our expenditures went down and when our revenue went down. We actually had a slight increase.
Right.
We allocated that into instruction. I didn't redo the by function spreadsheet.
Right.
I can provide that for you.
That's why I had never seen that. That's what I was asking about. So
Right. It was added into the
Okay.
by function
okay,
to the instructional.
I don't need to see it if that's where it went. I just never saw it, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any new business, board members? Any announcements? Yeah, and we can see under agenda prep, upcoming school board meetings, lots of items on the next meeting where we hope to have maybe 6 people here, maybe 7. there any questions or additions to agenda items for the next few meetings? Do we know what time the October 20th will start, the capital planning? Is that a, should we figure that out?
They didn't set a time yet, did they, Brenda? Did they set a start time
No,
previously
not for
for
the-
October 20?
Okay.
Not for the capital planning meeting.
Okay.
You want
7.
7?
7, okay.
Yeah, let's say 7 for now.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.